But now I figured out how it works.
Your timing is impeccable.
That's okay. Yeah.
John Giesman on behalf of the Alliance.
I'm going to start it now.
John Giesman on behalf of the Alliance for Nuclear Responsibility. I want to echo Dr. Weisenmiller's comments, thanking you for your service. I remain impressed that gentlemen of your distinction are willing to devote the time that you do to this subject. A lot has transpired since your last meeting. Most notable, the United States Department of Justice has indicted Pacific Gas and Electric on 12 safety-related criminal counts related to its natural gas system. Now, what does that mean? That means that the Department of Justice has determined that it can prove beyond a reasonable doubt that PG&E is guilty of each of those safety-related counts. Like every other criminal defendant in our system of justice, PG&E is entitled to a presumption of innocence until proven guilty, and it is not your role to convict them. But that fact is unprecedented among nuclear licensees in the United States. No other licensee has ever found itself in the position that this one does, and that should inform the rigor of your scrutiny, the various technical subjects brought before you, and the safety evaluations that you have to make. I want to add that to the topic that came up at your last meeting, and that is the INPO downgrade. I know you would prefer that that not be discussed, but it nevertheless remains the 800-pound gorilla in the room. This is a problem of culture. PG&E's response to the Department of Justice was that it does not believe that any of its employees have knowingly and willfully violated the law. That's my point. This is a question of corporate culture, and it is a problem that you should be wary of pervading each of the safety-related topics that you take up. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Giesman. Dr. Bundes, you want to respond to Mr. Giesman?
Just briefly. We are and have been for the longest while keenly in touch with the issue about corporate culture, and not just corporate, which is the big company, but the culture at the site, which as far as we're concerned is way more important because that's where things happen, but it's affected by the corporate culture too, and we're aware of that. We've been looking at it for the longest while. Something we pay a lot of attention to.
And if I may add to Dr. Bundes' comment, I certainly appreciate Mr. Giesman's concern. Thank you for sharing your concern with us. I do want the record to reflect that the Department of Justice criminal indictment of PG&E has nothing to do with this facility. Right? PG&E is a licensee of the Able Cannon nuclear power plant, which is licensed by the United States Nuclear Regulatory Commission. The DOJ indictment is related to an entirely different matter.
Well, Dr. Lamb, I would ask you, if an employee at the plant carried with him 12 similar indictments, would he be allowed into the parking lot? There is a level of scrutiny, a level of concern, a question of what one's willingness to suspend disbelief should be that unavoidably is raised by the fact that this particular licensee is the only NRC licensee to find itself in a similar legal position.
Yes, indeed. Yes, indeed. That point is well taken. But I still like to make sure the members of the public who are listening to this proceeding that we are talking about two separate matters. Mr. Giesman's point is well taken, right? But the record should indeed reflect the Department of Justice criminal indictment has nothing to do with this facility that this committee is chartered to
Well,
review?
it doesn't, but it does. I can tell you that I work in a big organization, the Lawrence Berkeley Laboratory, Lawrence Berkeley National Laboratory. It has 3,000 employees and has a zillion divisions. And if something goes wrong in one of those divisions, the first question you want to ask is, what's the root cause? Sometimes the root cause is down in the division, sometimes the root cause is at the top. And you don't know a priori, and you can't know until you go and look. So it's true here too. It's a point very well made, and I think something that we're going to have to account for. I said we've been accounting for it. On the other hand, members of the public ought to know that that this is not the gas division. I mean, so that's of course a distinction. Okay.
Right.
Clearly, we're not making gas here. We're not distributing gas. This isn't the gas division.
That's certainly true.
Sure, of course.
Mr. Kiesman, I am 100% agreement with Dr. Burness, right? If there are any interconnection there between what you are saying, somebody need to be held accountable and make sure it does not propagate into this facility, right? That concern I fully share with you, and thank you.